You might have some level 10 worthy raw aim, but if you're doing the habits that I list in this video, you're likely nerfing yourself into the ground and not reaching your full aiming potential. Before I tell you these bad habits, thank you to SkinsMonkey for sponsoring this video. SkinsMonkey is a trusted automated CS2 trading site. It's super easy to use. All you have to do is pick something in your inventory, check how much it's worth, and then go get something new from the monkey. What's also super nice is the filters you can use to narrow down your searches. You can either use your skins to trade for new ones or deposit money with their 30% bonus offer. This becomes 35% when you use my code Wilson. Please use it. Using my code, you can also get up to $5 for free. Use my code Wilson, link is in the description. Thank you, monkey. First, let's talk about pre-aiming. Aiming through a wall at an angle and assuming that once you swing, somebody is going to be there on your crosshair can be really uncomfortable for some people, but in Counter-Strike, it is a must. Instead of pre-aiming, a lot of players have the bad habit of rounding corners with their crosshair. This is good to do in certain situations, but the vast majority of your peaks should be pre-aimed. The biggest reason why rounding corners with your crosshair is bad in many situations is that your crosshair will have already passed the opponent by the time that you are able to react to seeing them. I'm going to play a couple clips of me rounding a corner with my crosshair, and I want you to pause the video when you react to seeing the CT. Unless you're a god amongst men, I would assume that the crosshair was past the opponent by the time you pause the video. So even if you're uncertain of where the enemy is going to be, peek with a static crosshair. And if you're worried about off angles, then peek the off angles with a static crosshair. There will be appropriate times for you to round angles with your crosshair. The most common instance where you'll have to do this is as you're scaling and you're holding an angle in anticipation of a swing. If you're anticipating a counter swing as you peek, it can also be better to round the corner rather than to pre-aim. Or if you're clearing out a bunch of off angles slowly, it can be good to round the corner. However, even when people do this in the correct situation, a really bad habit I see is that people hug their crosshair onto the angle way too tight. This gives no space for reaction time, and some people even put their crosshair into the wall, which means that even if they see their opponent as they swing, they force themselves to flick no matter what. One thing to note is that the closer you are to your opponent as you're rounding a corner, you have to leave your crosshair further off the angle than you do if you're really far away from the opponent. If you give your crosshair ample space away from the corner that you're rounding, then you give yourself enough of a cushion to actually react to seeing your opponent, which then allows you to get the kill without forcing yourself to flick. This third bad habit is an interesting one because I haven't really seen anybody talk about it. People talk about spray control all the time, but nobody talks about awkward bursts. When people burst without intention. A burst needs to be intentional and you need to practice your bursts. A burst is typically like 3 to 6 bullets. The awkwardness arrives when people burst as if they're tapping. They don't drag down enough or at all, and they move too much as they're bursting. Even with 3 bullet bursts, some drag down is still required. The other problem with bursting is that it's a side effect of a lack of confidence in your spray control. Now, I'm not talking about the full 30 bullet spray pattern. I'm more so talking about those first 15 bullets. The higher elo you get, the smaller the time to kill will be for your opponents, and you're going to be able to get away with bursting in like close medium ranges way less so. You're going to have to commit to sprays more often because if you over rely on bursting, you're often just going to get one burst off, not kill them, and then die because your opponent committed to a spray. Now, there will be times, no matter what elo you are, where bursting is going to be better than spraying, but in those cases where it's a I die or you die type situation, right? Both players are committed to the fight. Those are the cases where you need to be able to commit to a spray to lower your time to kill as much as possible. I don't know why peeking close to walls is such a common habit. It's something that I've had to force myself to stop doing. The reason why, in general, it's a bad thing to do is that when you peek close to a wall, you're going to reveal your player model to your opponent before you can even see your opponent. Generally, the only good time to peek really close to a wall is when you're moving at full speed and you're wide swinging your opponent. This way, you move across your opponent's screen faster than if you were further away off of the angle. But that has to be a very purposeful choice. By default, peek further away from angles and you're going to win more gunfights. This last habit is maybe the biggest habit I've ever seen ever, and it's lazy crosshair placement. Lazy crosshair placement steals so many kills from you and it gets you killed all the time. Your crosshair needs to be on an angle anytime that you could possibly get peeked. Now that prompts the question of what angle should you put your crosshair on when you're exposed to multiple angles? The answer to that question is your game sense. Your game sense should inform you what angle is most likely that my opponent is going to swing. But if you're in doubt, do not leave your crosshair in between angles. If you're in doubt, just pick one angle, whether you think it's most likely or if you don't have an idea, just pick one. So then if they do peek that one, you don't have to flick. And if they peek others, then you will flick. But if you hedge your bets and you put your crosshair in between different angles, you're going to force yourself to flick to every single one. If you feel like your game sense needs improving, you should check out my game sense video. That's a great place to start. Thank you for watching this video. I'd appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. My Twitch is in the description if you want to go follow me there. Huge thank you to my channel members who support me and allow me to be a goober on the internet. Thank you guys. Have a great day and good luck and have fun in all of your future games.